If there's one thing we've learned about business and life, it's that people are the X factor. They constantly surprise us, both in amazing ways and not so much. We're Ben and Syya, and welcome to the On This Business Bites podcast. This show is all about real life things we all deal with every day, how they relate to business, and how to make some sense out of our daily chaos. Welcome to the show. And welcome back to another episode of On This Business Bites. I'm Ben and this is Syya. And we're going to take this 15 minutes and we're going to talk about pitching yourself as a guest on a podcast. You know, I've been podcasting for 11 years now. I've probably hosted 800 to 1,000 shows. I've probably been on another 500 or 700 shows. Syya, you've probably been close to that number. I'm not, God knows who knows the numbers. But we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think we really need to talk about this because it's little things that make all the difference in the world. So, Syya, let's gnaw on this.
Okay. Oh, I know this is, I've been begging for this topic because I've been posting a lot about it fairly recently because I'm tired. I'm done. As producers, okay, we get it. We more than anything get it because we help our clients understand promotion. Okay. We understand your plight, peoples. But here's what kills me. All right. Is people who pitch themselves all day long. Can I get on your podcast? Can I get on your podcast? Oh, it looks like you have a great podcast. I don't know who you are. And the sadder part, you don't know who I am. And you're pitching like a mofo. And then you're like, I'm going to be the best guest you've ever had. And you're like, really? What is it of value that you are going to bring to the table? Because I think let's just call it. There's multiple levels here that I'm going to go off on. And I don't know if I'm going to have enough for 15 minutes for you guys, but here's the deal. If you want to be a good guest, then be a considerate good guest. You know what? Number one thing, if you want to be a good guest, it ain't about you. Okay. Oh yeah. You're the guest. You're the spotlight, but it ain't about you. Or for those that might want to be picking on me, it is not about you. It isn't about you. How about that? Let me say it one more time. We don't care about you bragging on yourself if you want to be on someone else's show. The value you bring is what do you bring to the host, to the audience that you're talking to? We don't care about your book. We don't care that you're the best speaker and keynote speaker in the universe. We can see that in your bio. And you've been a coach for 32 years. We see it in your bio, people. We see it in your pictures and screenshot, whatever. Okay. Do the research. I'm going to rant. You know what? This is going to be the Syya rant for 15 minutes. Just smiling on and agree with me, Ben. Seriously.
You go, girl.
I am like, I've had it. If you want to be a good guest that's going to be welcomed, then do the research. Listen for 5 minutes. I'm not even asking for the whole entire episode. Listen for 5 minutes of the guest or of the show that you're trying to pitch. Okay. If you're an underwater basket weaver and you wrote an amazing book on it and you could talk all day and you did your own TEDx on underwater basket weaving, do not pitch a cybersecurity show. What the hell are you thinking? What the hell do you think that you can do or say that would make that show say, oh, yeah, cybersecurity and underwater basket weaving, there's such a natural tie-in. Okay, that's it. I'm done. And don't even get me started on like equipment.
That, come with a pitch.
Oh, no, don't pitch.
I would love to talk to you, but I was listening to a couple of your episodes. Your show seems to be about X. I talk about this. I'd love to talk to you about why. And it says, what do you think? Do you have 10 minutes to discuss? That way, I sit there and say, okay, this person has invested some time to listen to one or two of my episodes, or at least glance at the show notes.
Yeah.
Understand that my audience is cybersecurity experts. That this is what the show talks about all day long. I realize that I have something that cybersecurity experts would like to listen to and could add some value to their lives. Here is what I think, or I listened to this episode. You had so and so talk about this. You know what? I actually disagree with that person, and this is why. And I'd like to talk to you and bring the other viewpoint to the show.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. But the thing is everybody sits there and say the show is about me. No, it's as Syya said, it's not about you. It's about how you add value to our audience. My attitude as a host is I'm a conduit. My job is to be able to sit there and say, this is my audience. These are the people that listen to me each and every week. These are the people that see value in what I do. I'm the gatekeeper. I'm only letting somebody on my show that's going to speak to these people and add value to their lives. Mm-hmm. If you don't do that, I don't care how cute you are. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how big an audience you have. I don't care, how important you think you are. I don't want you on my show. Because if you can't add value to my audience in a way that enables them to go, that was great. I want to tune in again next week to see who Ben or Syya is going to get on their show next week, then I don't want to do that. The other thing that you need to do is come prepared. Come prepared.
Yes.
Actually be prepared. Don't do me a favor. Don't ever send me say, here's the 6 questions I want you to ask me. Because guess the first thing I'm going to do is burn the sheet. Second of all, I'm going to deschedule our interview. It's the first thing I'm going to do. Second of all, I says, no, I'm never going to send you the questions I'm going to ask you. It's a conversation. If you can't have a conversation and talk intelligently and extrapolate and go through a series of points on your own without prompting, without sounding like a machine, without sounding like everything is pre-rehearsed, I don't want you on my show.
Oh, look, I'm gonna say something that is going to be counter to what we just said. I agree 100%. I'm going to try to get other perspective into the mix.
Sure.
There are some individuals who maybe have higher anxiety levels than others, where they're like, look, I actually have like a clinical like need for structure and all that. And I'm okay with that. I think if you are of that personality type, it does not mean that it somehow cancels you to be a future guest on people's podcasts and live streams and all that stuff. Okay. But the truth of the matter is the best content, the best conversations, the most relatable, listenable, entertaining, whatever you want to call it, is a more spontaneous conversations. So for those that do have higher tendency of anxiety, they get uncomfortable. If you're just more inclined to be more introverted, look, I get it. I feel you. The way to get around that, and it sucks, is practice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But hey, before you go any further, let's also say that it's also the host's responsibility to make the guest feel comfortable and enable the guest to shine. Yes. Your number one rule as a host is to enable your guest to shine and enable them to tell their story in a way that's going to benefit your audience. Therefore, every single host should have a 15-minute meeting with the potential guest before to sit there and say, is there something we should talk about? What are the things we should talk about? Are you a natural fit for my show? Are you not a natural fit for my show? And if you are, these are the things how about we structure the conversation so we're going to cover these type of things.
Themes.
Okay, that works for you?
Topics and themes. Yes.
Topics and themes. I'm not going to give you the questions, but I'll give you the topics and themes. I also book an hour appointment and spend the first 10 minutes with the guest before we hit record. And remember that before you hit record, making sure the guest is comfortable. making sure that they know how to present themselves in front of the video, making sure that their sound is okay, making sure their lighting is okay, making sure there isn't something distracting in the background. As a host, we are also responsible to make sure that our guest is in the best light possible
100%.
and actually presents themselves the best way that they can. So it's not just, I'm not just ragging on guests. I mean, there's lots of bad things I see from guests, but I also see bad hosts that all of a sudden you jump on a call and they've already hit the record button before you even walk on board, and you didn't even know they had started recording.
Yeah, no. Let's keep this to the guests because we can definitely wax
I
poetic
just want
on
to
how to
caveat
be a bad
this.
host. But
Yeah,
no, it's 100%. It's a two-way street. But let us not mistake it. Okay, if you're pitching yourself to be a guest because you do have an agenda, we get it. Okay, come with something, an interesting story about you that makes you human. And anything, and when we say storytelling, it is important. Okay, so tell a story about yourself that's going to trigger an emotion as to why I can relate to you. Okay, so one of my personal favorite stories is why I never walk barefoot. It's not because I'm Asian. Okay, granted, as an Asian, we are told not to walk barefoot because you don't want to bring your dirty feet into the house and all that good stuff. But the truth of the matter is as a child, I ignored my mom, ran outside barefoot thinking, oh, I'm free like the bird. And I'm running a bit, I'm trying to catch up with my sisters. And then clomp, cracks. Bleh. I stepped on a snail and it oozed in between my toes. Okay. So I don't know if I could describe it even. I can if you would like me to describe it more
I really don't
disgustingly
want
for
you
you.
to.
But let me tell you something. Lesson learned. There's a reason why people tell you to do things, right? But now you're going to remember Syya had a snail crushed between her toes. Okay, great. But okay, going back to that guess. Those types of things are going to endear you to the host so they're relaxed as well. So if I may say this, I've seen guests of some of my clients, a lot of my clients, sometimes they're first time hosts, right? This is their first jump in and they're like, they don't know what they don't know, but they want to do a good job for you, but they're going to be nervous. I have seen some very arrogant guests and it hurts me and saddens me to say it. There is a misconception that when you start a show, right, of some sort, whether it's live stream, podcast, pre-record, whatever you want to call it, audio room, whatever, that you need to get the biggest stars first. Everyone wants to try to get Joe Rogan first or something, right? Let's get Howard Stern on as a guest. Let me get Oprah. Okay, look, peoples, try to think a little bit. It doesn't have to be a BHAG. That could be your BHAG as you grow and develop, but you don't need it from the jump because why would you do that to yourself and to your guests? If you're not prepared, don't get a quote, big time because some of them may not have the patience or the grace to give you as you're developing your skills. So as a guest, if you are quote the Oprahs of your industry of underwater basket weaving, right? Give grace to your guests. If you're going to be pitching and you're pitch slapping, don't be surprised if you're on guests that are like fumbling through things. I've seen some guests that just have this look of like, I don't want to be here. And me as a producer on the back, and I'm watching the behavior, like the body language and everything. There are times, Ben, I've wanted to stop the interview to be like, we're done. This is not going the right direction. But of course, I don't want to be the one to make that decision. But there are days where I'm just like, stop looking at your damn phone and stop texting people. Oh my God. If you're going to be a guest, can you please be present?
That's right.
Be there for your host. I don't know. Oh my God.
But here's one more thing that you said about pitch slapping. How many guests have you had on your show? It says, and you can buy my book on Amazon for $19.95. And our course is, and you can find me at www.xyz.com through the entire interview. So every 30 to 75 seconds, whenever they can, pitch their product or pitch their service through the interview, they're doing that. My attitude is somebody has been gracious enough to have you on their show. They will give you 30 seconds to a minute at the end of the show to say, hey, listen, is there something you'd like to tell my audience? Is there something, a giveaway? Is there a website where people can find you? You will get that process. And guess what? It's going to be in the show notes as well. If you're sitting there and pitching yourself and your services through the whole interview, nobody wants to listen to it. And people are just going to turn it off.
I get it. I get it. You think you're the most fascinating underwater basket weaver in the world, people. The problem is there's always another underwater basket weaver. Okay. That's going to be just as good. But if they're more entertaining, they're more giving. Oh, wait. And there's one other area that we didn't really talk about is be engaging. Like, how many times have we
Yes.
seen it where like you want to be a guest and then you treat it like a Q&A? And it's like, holy shizers. If I had a Q&A is not conversation, people. I don't know if people understand this. I don't know how to declare it more. And I've coached a lot of people on this. Watch each other. Feel
Listen to each
other.
other.
Listen. Like, laugh with each other. Ask each other. If you're a guest, I think it's 100% fair for you to ask a question back. Do you think so?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's yes. So okay. Anyway, I think
we're going to have a
talking
part 2 to this one. I think we're definitely going to have a part 2. Listen, everybody in the show notes, we're going to get going, but put down your biggest pet peeve when you're listening to a podcast. Put your biggest pet peeve of a podcast guest. I would love to listen to those in the show notes.
Yeah. Woo. Okay, look, peoples. The other thing too that really irks me is I don't even want to talk about the hardware piece. Maybe that's a different conversation.
That's
right?
a completely different conversation.
We'll make it into a different episode. But this one, like another thing about being a good guest is to be curious of the host.
Yes.
It's not like do a little research on the host themselves. Go on LinkedIn or just go to any of their YouTube channels and you can see that like, oh, Syya is definitely allergic to cats. Let's have some fun with that. Like, you know what I mean? Like tie something back to you and your story and your value out of underwater basket weaving. And it could be, yeah, there's a story of a cat that just went in there and just like ripped up all the pieces and parts of the, basket weaving wood product. What is it? Wood? Is it rattan? What is it?
I have no idea.
There was a gal.
You know what? You'll find out later.
No. There was a gal that actually did a water weaving basket thingy in college. It was part of her like art thing. Anyway, sorry, you got me distracted, and I'm. One more.
One more, then we gotta let him go.
One more, peoples. If you ask to be on someone's show, you better be cross promoting. I am so tired of people saying, let me get on your show, let me get on your show, and then you create the thing for them and they don't promote it. They don't like, and by the way, I'm guilty of it. Okay. I'm guilty. Now that being said, I don't ask to be guests anymore, but just even if you can't do it immediately to promote the show, like if it's a live stream, obviously you want to promote so you get, people watching it live. But if you get busy in life, we catch it, we get it. There's always hashtag team replay. Then re-promote it later. You can do it a month from now. You could do it 6 months from now and say, hey, I had a great time being on Ben's podcast. Here, you guys, check this out. You know what? We appreciate that. It's those that never do any. It's those that just like, I want to be promoted on your network, but they don't promote you on their network. It's like, you're zero value add to me at this point. So.
Okay. We've let it go. We got to let it go. Everybody breathe deep.
Wait.
And I'm Ben.
I'm Syya.
And we'll see you soon.
Hey. Thanks for listening to another episode of Not On This, Business Bites. If you liked what you heard, we most humbly ask that you like, share, and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to communicate more effectively within your organization, contact Ben at yourbrandmarketing.com or me at brilliantbeammedia.com. We can help you build your community, brand awareness, and personality through digital content and podcasting. We cannot wait to hear from you. So see you next week for another episode of Not On This, Business Bites.